trying to bring up the box.
What's up, people? You're listening and watching the RAPS Talk podcast presented by HipHoopJunkies.com and HoopHeadsNorth.com. This is episode 94. Hoops Talk out of Halifax. Our sponsor is FanEssentials.net. But yeah, 116-89. We the North is going to the Eastern Conference Finals. What a huge win by the Toronto Raptors. I mean, it was an up and down series. Like it was a crazy series. Like not the best basketball you've ever watched, but I mean, that game right there is probably the best you've seen the Toronto Raptors all playoffs, I would say.
Especially in a Game 7 scenario of all scenarios, right? Like we've seen it in some of those swing games, like the Game 3s, the Game 5s, but to do it in Game 7, that was huge. That was huge, and I'm really excited for what this potentially could do to take the sport of basketball even further in our wonderful nation of Canada. I'm just really excited about more people following the sport and getting involved in it, whether it's casually or from a participating, perspective. I'm trying to look at the whole picture of what this could provide, as far as the sport growing. But as far as the Raptors are concerned, just huge to be able to say now you've advanced to the conference finals. First time in franchise history, 21st season, just amazing.
Yui.
Hi, I'm Yui.
Yeah, your thoughts on that game there, just your general thoughts.
General thoughts, it was awesome. It was finally good to see like a Raptors team play like they did in the regular season for the most part. I guess even with some of the down stuff, but they really pulled through, and the two guards, the two frauds from Sean's Facebook feed, taking heat from everybody.
Yep.
Finally came through the last 3-4 games or whatever, and did what they're capable of doing. Still not the greatest percentage, but still like they got it done. They're maybe not superstars, but they're all stars, and they're the guys that the team relies on, and they came through.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was Game 7. I mean, the flashback was to the Vince Carter when he against Philadelphia 15 years ago, missing that game-winning 3. That's kind of like where we were, and it was just a matter of, was this Toronto Raptors team going to change make history and take the team to the Eastern Conference Finals? And I know like a lot of people were probably uneasy, a lot of fans of going into the Game 7 against Miami. But for Lowry and DeRozan, I mean, to take the team on their back, and they do. I mean, this is the Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan you saw in the regular season. To see Lowry put up 35 points and DeMar 28. I mean, this is just the team that we saw, that we thought we were going to see in this playoffs, and it was usually one guy or another guy, but at least this time they played well, and then the rest of the team played as well.
That's right. That's right. Very similar to their effort in Game 3. Game 5 had a similar effort in Game 6, didn't get the win. But you're 100% right, Romy. That's how the team got to 56 wins this year. It was unfortunate that certain games, especially the losses, obviously, they didn't seem to stick with those adjustments they needed to make early enough. And that's why they were getting roasted in the media, and in a lot of cases, rightfully so. I agree with a lot of the criticism that DeMar and Lowry were taking. More so DeMar than Lowry, just because I felt, and we've said this, ad nauseum previously, that Kyle Lowry had been doing a lot of things other than scoring to help the team in a positive way, whereas DeMar seemed to kind of rely on that jump shot, and it wasn't working. He didn't seem to really adjust to taking it to the rim early enough to try and draw fouls and slow the game down and try to get his rhythm from the free throw line going, which had been effective for him all season long. So it was bewildering, and it was hard to understand why he wasn't doing that, but he has been doing that the past few games, so let's hope that he's got his confidence back, and it's something that we'll see moving forward into the next series against Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean that's what they. I mean exactly what you're saying. Easy for us to see, and it's so easy for me to say.
Yeah.
You just gotta do what works, right? Like you just gotta do what works. I mean, if it worked for you in another game, why can't you do it this game? And I mean, it's easy for us to say it, but I know like teams adjust and they know what to focus on the next game. But the fact that they were able to take that last game, and I mean, if anything, this playoffs is the Raptors have. They're kind of the masters of the bounce back game. They always seem to like after a bad loss, not. I mean, they're able to. I mean, pull out a big win. I mean, we saw it in the last series when they played Indiana in the game 6 that they had that tough loss. And they came back and then they had a great game 7. That was another great performance tonight. I mean, Lowry, DeMar, but then what was missing in the last game in game 6 showed up this game. We had some more. We had some of the supporting cast like I mean making an impact. Bismack Biyombo was phenomenal. I mean, 17 points and 16 rebounds. I mean, he's just so fun to watch too.
Right.
He's very emotional. So, yeah, I mean, what do you guys? Who was kind of like the biggest? I mean, outside of Kyle and DeMar, like, who do you guys credit to this win as well?
Go ahead, Yui.
The alliteration bigs. Oh yeah. Pat and Bismack, both with double doubles. Both, it goes back to that small ball adjustment that people were talking about. Why did they make that adjustment? Why did they make that adjustment? They were getting all the offensive boards, and this proved, that staying big and sticking to your guns in that case, Spoelstra was doing it out of necessity, whereas Casey was just kind of just trying to match up instead of taking advantage of what he had. And once he stuck to his guns to what he had, then you really got to see like they were getting all the loose balls there in the second, third, and fourth quarters, and challenging on the defensive end, and just doing everything that they needed out of their big men and against the depleted front line of the Heat. So they got it done.
Sure did.
Yeah.
It was great. It was great. Exciting. Just exciting.
If you look at the rebounding numbers, but Toronto with 50 boards to Miami with 30, and then the offensive boards 20 to 7. So I mean, definitely a difference maker. I mean, it
Second
was
chance
definitely
points.
yeah. So I mean, definitely made. I mean, it was kind of night and day between the last game and this game, and yeah, I mean, Bismack Biyombo played 40 minutes. What we got? 17, 16, 2 blocks. Patterson, like you're saying, 11 and 11, and Patterson was struggling this whole series, and for him to kind of make an impact, I mean, it's going to gain his confidence. And Terrence Ross had 8 points, so they kind of stuck. The lineup was pretty short on the Toronto side. Corey Joseph, Terrence Ross, and then Jason Thompson with some minutes. I mean, there was some garbage time. Some other guys got involved, but Coach Casey kept that rotation tight.
Yeah, and I think that's what you have to do, right? It was working. They had leads. They were able to stretch leads with that core group out there. And, there were times where it seemed to slip a little bit when Terrence Ross came into the game for whatever reason, especially later in the game. He didn't seem to have quite the same level of energy he did early. So things started to scale back point-wise, but they got it rolling again. And even when the lead was slipping late in quarters, we saw that a couple times in this game as well. They still were able to get the lead right back, early in the next quarter, and were able to extend it again. And to your point earlier, Romy, about the offensive rebounds, where they had 20 offensive rebounds compared to 7 for the Miami Heat. The Raptors ended up scoring 27 second chance points compared to just 6 for the Heat. Actually, sorry, 9. It was 6 fast break points, but 9 second chance points. So 27 to 9 Raptors advantage on the second chance points, and a 16 to 6 advantage on fast break points. So that was great to see, and a lot of that was sparked by the defensive intensity and being able to, get the ball running the other way.
Yeah, and a bit of sort of progress that I noticed that was key, but you might not think it, was end of the third. Raptors were outscored 18 to 9, but during that stretch, DeMar had isolated in one play, and it looked like he was going to go one-on-one with 8 seconds left. Jason Thompson came up from the top from the key and was coming in to possibly give a pick.
Yeah.
And at that time, Tyler Johnson had shifted off of Lowry, and DeMar found Lowry for that wide open three, just that little extra bit. And for DeMar to recognize that was just a little bit, something that showed a little bit of progress there. And then what else happened? Then Lowry took a charge at the other end. Then DeRozan hit a 20-footer at the end of the shot clock. So if those things don't happen, it easily could have been like an 18-2 run and close down the stretch, and a lot more pressure going on the Raps down the stretch. So even though it was 18-9, it was still a little bit of progress that they were able to make those clutch plays.
Right.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's, I was gonna say the story. I mean, the story is just like closing out the quarter strong. If the Raps go up 17 or whatever, just be able to kind of like keep that run going, and at least don't get lazy once you're up big. I mean, sometimes it's easy to get lazy when you're up big on a team like Miami. But yeah, I mean, this is actually kind of good going into the Eastern Conference Finals, that the Raptors are kind of know what kind of works for them now. I mean, Cleveland is a different beast than Miami. I mean, Miami, to be honest, I mean, without Whiteside and without Bosch, I mean, this is a team you would think Toronto would have beat in the first place. I would think. I mean, outside of the experience that like Joe Johnson and Dwayne Wade bring and Udonis Haslem, but this is I think this is a good thing. I mean, Cleveland's going to be rested, but hopefully they can take this momentum into the next series.
Cleveland's going to be rusted.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. The Cleveland Cavaliers are actually practicing tonight. They decided they were going to get a practice in once they knew exactly who was going to win, so they could start installing some of their game plans. And so they're practicing tonight, practicing tomorrow, and then shoot around on Tuesday before the game. So they are definitely going to get some work in. But of course, getting work in against yourselves is different than high-level competition Game 7 type basketball. So you're 100% right. It will be interesting to see if the rest versus rust comes into play at all, especially Game 1.
Especially how hot the Cavaliers were from 3. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah. Right.
The season series was what between Cleveland and Toronto?
2-1 for Toronto.
2-1 Toronto. So I mean that's something to work off of. But I mean, like we said, like it doesn't really mean much. But Cleveland is. I mean, they're definitely going to be the team to beat. They were the team to beat in the East. So it's nice to see the 1 and 2 seed. I mean, go to the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, the two best teams. What are your initial thoughts about Cleveland?
I mean, they're just so dangerous offensively, and they have the ability to be able to turn things up defensively as well. Will they? That will be the ultimate thing, I think, because if the Raptors are able to get into the Cavs like they have shown their ability to do through the first 2 rounds, it's not going to be easy for Cleveland. Obviously, Cleveland is going to be the favored team in the series by most people. But I've said this many times before, and I've said this for the past 2 rounds. Absolutely nothing is decided on paper, and I'll continue to say that. You bring your best effort, anything is possible. The Raptors, were right there in the hunt for the first overall seed in the East this year themselves, and they did show success against Cleveland this year in the regular season. Of course, playoffs are different. Both teams are playing at at different levels, different ways right now. But I really like the way that the Raptors are coming into this, especially with the play of their bigs and DeMar and Kyle these past 3 games, and just hoping they can ride that momentum into the next round. But defense, to me, will be they have to really defend well, especially on the perimeter, and don't double team unless you really have to, because who are you going to double team? Double team LeBron, you're going to leave like K-Love open, you're going to leave Kyrie. Like, you can't worry about double teaming, man. Each person's got to do their best, have weak side, you know what I mean, help have a couple bigs that can help protect the rim and such. But everybody's gotta be mano a mano and try and do the best they can with the guy that they're assigned to. If they're really getting burned, maybe that's a different story. But ultimately, one guy can't score, no matter who it is on Cleveland. One guy can't score all the points for the team. And if they can do their job as best as they can and defend the perimeter, specifically from three, I think the Raptors will give themselves a really good chance.
Yeah, that double teaming is like pulling on the one little yarn or the one little thread. Like it'll all unravel really quickly with all the 3-point shooters they have.
Yes.
Ball will be swinging. They'll have to work extra hard, and end of the shot clock, 3-point wide open bomb. Like that's so demoralizing.
Yeah, you defend for 22 seconds, and then they get like an open look for 3 in the final 2 seconds of the shot clock.
And especially too, yeah, with their stretch 4s and 5s like Channing Frye and Kevin Love, like to swing it out to them, and then guys like Bismack and Pat Patterson who are trying to help protect the paint or trying to run out against those guys, which opens up offensive board opportunities for the Cavs as well. So.
And Tristan Thompson is like the best offensive rebounder in the NBA, basically. So the Raptors have to do a great job one-on-one.
Yeah,
and you look.
It's good. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you just look at the matchups, though, it is possible to stay on your positions, like through position by position.
You're going to feature some Canadian content in that series as well. Tristan Thompson, Corey Joseph.
Yeah,
former teammates.
I'm sure most of the NBA writers were looking forward to the LeBron against Miami and LeBron versus Wade, but this is the storyline here, the Canadian content on X.
Yeah. Oh yeah, baby. Wade and LeBron. That's so 2011 or whatever, man. Forget that. Father Time, not Father Prime.
Before I wrap this up, going back just to wrap up that last game with Miami and Toronto, Darrell Wright and DeLon Wright in garbage time both checked in. I didn't hear the broadcast, but was there anything? Is this I don't know how often this happens, but that brothers go head to head in a playoff game. Was there any type of milestone for this or anything?
To be honest with you, I'm not sure. I can, there's so many different, brother combinations in the
yeah. Sure.
So it's hard to I can't think of one off the top of my head. Like the Grant brothers from the 80s and early 90s, Harvey Grant and Horace Grant. I don't know if they ever competed against each other in the playoffs because Harvey was never ever usually on any good teams. Like he was on Washington Bullets when they weren't very good and stuff like that. So and then most recently, exactly, Markieff and Marcus Morris, right?
Yeah.
They haven't competed each other in the playoffs that I can think of. So.
Yeah. Anyhow, it was cool that the two of them got to both check in at the same time and kind of go head to head. But yeah, I was just doing a quick Twitter search to see if anything came up, but I don't think. I think just a proud mother, I guess, got to see her two sons go in the playoffs, go head to head. But yeah, I mean that's it. I mean the series. I mean it was an ugly series. I mean to be honest. It was pretty frustrating to watch. I mean, if you're a Raptors fan, I mean, to see the good and the bad, and just it was just a tough series. But I mean, they won. It went 7 games, and I think a lot of people probably had the series to go 7 games. So I don't think there was any surprise there.
We all did, didn't we? Didn't we all choose 7 games?
Yes. Yeah. Your predictions, though. I mean, if you want to, we always want to root for the Raptors, but I mean, Toronto, Cleveland. How many games do you think the Raptors are going to get swept? I'll put it that. Do you think the Raptors will get swept? No,
they're not getting swept. They're not getting swept. It's tough. It's really tough because trying to look at it objectively as possible. you want to say, like, Cleveland, just the way they've been playing this playoffs and the weapons they have and the experience, especially LeBron, and the team made it to the finals last year as well. They have a lot on their side. But the fact of the matter is, you got to play the games, and the Raptors did show success against them in the regular season. So yeah, if I'm gonna have to be, if I have to go on record, I'm calling Raptors in 7 again. I'm doing it again, Raptors in 7 again. But I mean, it's gonna be a tough. There's no question that it's gonna be tough for the Raptors to overcome Cleveland 4 times in a series, playing every second day. But I can't go against them at this point. Everyone expects Cleveland to win, so I'm choosing Raps in 7.
Yui.
Oh man, I'm just interested to see. The first 20 minutes are gonna be pretty telling, just to see if if the Raps are, there's like, are they happy to be there? Are they loose because they're there and want to prove some people wrong? Or are they overwhelmed by the moment because it's the first time in the conference finals? Like, you don't know who's going to show up. But if they show up and compete and then are loose and know that they're playing with the house money, they could definitely compete, and they can go, like, 5, 6, 7 games. But then you look at LeBron and Kyrie. Those guys can pull out any game at any time just by themselves.
Right.
And the Raptors don't have that. So I'm not going to make a prediction other than I'll say that Cleveland's going to win. And if it goes 4 or 5, I won't be too disappointed. If it goes 6 or 7, I'll be impressed. And really looking forward to next year and what the Raps will come up with.
Yeah. I mean, the goal for everybody, for the team, was always just to get out of the first round. Be able to win that first round series, and to be able to win 2 playoff series. Like I say, it's just gravy. And to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, make history. They got the momentum going into it. They're fresh. But how does that go? Does that work for them, or does that go against them? Are they going to be exhausted after going 14 games? 14 playoff games. Cleveland's only played 8, and they got a ton of rest. So, I think, if anything, I think the Raptors can probably steal one of these first 2 games in Cleveland.
For sure. Also, the Cavs, like, how many close games have they had in the playoffs so far?
Oh, quite a few. Against Detroit and against Atlanta. 1-point games, 2-point games, 3-point games. They had a couple blowouts in there too, but quite a few of those games in the sweeps were, like, very close.
Yeah. So I definitely don't think it's going to be a sweep. If I'm going to predict, I'd like to see the Raptors win it. I know they're an underdog going into it, so I probably think Cleveland in 6. But I'm a Raptors fan, so I'm hoping it goes. I'm hoping the Raptors win and make surprises. And what are the chances we're going to see like a Thunder Raptors finals?
And it'll be like, oh, KD always wanted to play for the Raptors. That'll be the big storyline. I can already see it happening.
Speaking of which, quickly before we wrap things up for this episode, can we talk about that other series quickly? Like, what do you guys think between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Golden State Warriors? Like, do the Warriors really just run away with this, or do KD and Westbrook find a way to basically do what they did in Game 6 versus the Spurs?
I'm going to say it's going to be close, because I watched that series, and it wasn't just KD and Russell Westbrook.
No,
not even by a long shot. Steven Adams was crazy good. Dion Waiters surprised the heck out of me. Like, I never liked his game, and he was always kind of brash to me. Like,
he didn't show that ability in Cleveland.
Last 3 games he played like exactly the way they needed to. Like, taking advantage of his one-on-one abilities, but also finding people. Like, he was facilitating for people as well. And Cantor and Steven Adams were both, and that's not even talking about Ibaka either. So, and Roberson stepped up at the end. Plus, on the defensive end, what he provides for them. So, yeah, I say it's going at least 6 games for that one.
And how about Randy Foy?
Yeah,
in as a veteran point guard, right? You know, like those are the kind of players, those role players you need, and those are like those are the type of players that Golden State has and has shown ability to be effective. The Sean Livingstons of the world, right? Like those kind of players. Andre Iguodala, NBA Finals MVP last year. Like,
yeah, and it's not like the Spurs played absolutely terrible and the Thunder just took over or whatever.
Oh,
right?
the Spurs dominated Game 1.
Yeah, exactly.
The mental fortitude that the Thunder showed after getting manhandled in Game 1, come back and win a super tight, I think it was a 1 or 2 point game the very next game, and just found ways to keep getting it done. Billy Donovan, excellent coach, found ways to get his team, you know what I mean, energized and ready and motivated and prepared and ready to go. It was an impressive showing by the Thunder.
And even that Game 6, like, the Spurs kept on coming. Like, I thought they were, like, save for a couple plays, they could have got it in the single digits, and who knows what would have happened. Like, it's just, especially the way the Clippers did last year. Once they know it's within range, you don't know who's going to do what. And KD and Russell just came up with a couple big plays that helped keep it in double digits, but it could have easily gone down to single digits in that game, even though they were winning by like close to 30.
The Spurs couldn't chip away in the third quarter. They kind of like really started to do all that damage in the fourth, and I thought they really didn't have any left in the tank. They got it down to, like you said, like 12, 14-ish, like basically cut the lead in half. But that's 28 points, I think it was, right? Like that's a lot of points to try and get back all in one quarter.
This it's not going to be a cakewalk, I don't think, for Golden State. I'm in this final, but Game 1 for the Raptors. Raptors-Cleveland is on Tuesday.
Yep.
It's an 8:30 p.m. Eastern start, and then on Thursday at the same time, both games in Cleveland, and then Game 3 will be in Toronto on Saturday at 8:30 Eastern, and then Game 4 on Monday as well. So look forward to this series. Final thoughts. And is there any word on JV for the next series?
So Coach Casey said today in the post game that it's uncertain, and but he was a little more definitive after the Game 6 loss. He came flat out and said that JV's nowhere close to being ready. Now, is that gamesmanship, or is he really not close to ready? I know we saw him on the sideline today, cheering on the team and everything, but I didn't really see how he looked walking around. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I was checking the tweets. They said he's walking around with no support on his ankle and was walking without a limp. But, I mean, walking and running and jumping is two different things, so who knows how close.
Excellent.
Yeah, well, I mean, the good thing is, though, Biyombo has been playing very well, just kind of filling the void. So, I mean, if he has to kind of ease his way back, a couple games, then it gives him some time with Biyombo kind of filling in. But we look forward to it. That's it for the podcast, episode 94. Hoops Talk out of Halifax. Follow the blog, siphoopjunkies.com, hoopheadsnorth.com, on Twitter, at Romeo Aquino, at Sean Francois, at Yui the Jock. We out.